Very happy, though, to welcome our friend Frank Figliuzzi, FBI Assistant Director, retired, MSNBC national security expert. You see him all the time, and he also writes there. Author of various books, including Long Haul, Hunting the Highway Serial Killers. Hello, Frank. Nice to see you.
Hey, Dean. Hey, instead of introducing me as FBI Assistant Director retired, you should just say FBI Assistant Director tired because that's how I'm
Tired. He's
feeling
just
right now. And just like everybody else is feeling, it has been brutal.
so tell us. I was thinking of you when I saw that the Justice Department is trying to compile the name of FBI agents and bureau agents,
Yeah.
employees who worked on the January 6th case and in doing their job to hold Donald Trump accountable for attempting a coup. And it seems like they want to purge them. What more can you tell us?
Yeah, a lot of drama going on. This is the stuff that movies are made of, but unfortunately, it's happening in real time and in reality. So we know this. We know that eight of the top people in the FBI were walked out of the building. So every executive assistant director is gone. In addition, the heads of three field offices, including the massive Washington field office, the very large Miami division where I served and the Las Vegas division have lost their special agents in charge. And now the next step is apparently to try and purge field office agents, which is interesting because, there was always, you'll see this in any company, right? But particularly in law enforcement, there's the field and there's headquarters. And the field guys and gals are like, so you walked out some suits in Washington. Who cares? Well, we're looking at now between 4,000 and 6,000 special agents who worked the January 6 cases, the Trump related cases, and every office has been told to submit by noon tomorrow the names
Mm-hmm.
of all of those thousands of agents. There is a standoff occurring. When I refer to drama, the acting assistant director, who, by the way, was approved by Trump. He's a very conservative guy. They thought he would roll over, but they picked the wrong guy because he reportedly told the acting deputy attorney general, Emil Bove, who is, by the way, Trump's defense lawyer, who's now acting deputy attorney general. He told him basically to F off. And he may have used,
Mm-hmm.
not basically, he may have used those exact words when he was asked to supply the list. So we now have the head of the New York field office, the largest field office in the Bureau, telling his employees, we are in for a fight. I'm digging in. This is astounding and unprecedented. And now, latest information, this just in, multiple sources saying various field offices will refuse to submit the names of their agents.
So what happens then in New York? It's James Dennehy.
Yeah.
And what happens if James Dennehy says, I'm not doing it? They just fire him. They walk him out too.
So here's the thing. The I love this because people, even Kash Patel and other hard right MAGA guys are saying what? Hey, we need an FBI that goes back to door kicking. And, they're cops. They should just be cops working rape and murder. Well, rape and murder aren't FBI violations, but that's another discussion. So guess what? Trump appoints this guy, Brian Driscoll, who guess what? Was a commander of the hostage rescue team during his career. He is a door kicker. And guess what? You picked the wrong guy if you thought he was going to roll over. Same goes for the head of the New York office. The guy's a former Marine. He's respected and popular. You got the wrong agency you're picking on. This is not going to end well for Trump. They're going to go to court. There's going to be a class action. This is all illegal. You cannot submit what they just did with the suits at headquarters.
Mm-hmm.
Illegal. You can't summarily dismiss a federal employee absent a finding of gross misconduct. This is all going to head to an injunction to cease and desist in federal court. And, like Andy McCabe, former acting director of the FBI, eventually, a year or more later, he gets his pension, he gets his back pay.
But in the interim, these people are going to be out of work unless they get an injunction, which is really quick. That's the only expedited process. If not, then they're out of work waiting for this. And then does Trump, I wonder if Trump and if it's Cash Patel, it probably gets confirmed because the worse you are, they confirm you quicker with the Republicans. So what happens? These people are just out of work. Is the FBI going to be understaffed? And how do
Oh
you
my
recruit
God.
new
Well,
people who have quality
let
to be
me,
in the FBI when this is the
yeah,
way they're treating people?
let me give you a feel for this, the impact that this potentially could have. We're already less safe as a nation because of this. When you lose and peel off layers of leadership at headquarters and the field, and now you threaten upwards of 6,000 agents. There are only 14,000 gun and badge carrying agents in the FBI. Now, the agency itself is like 37, 38,000, but there's only 14,000 agents. And now you're talking about what, as many as 6,000 that touched January 6 cases? You want to talk about devastating national security. And I remind people of the work of the FBI. At any given time, there are multiple terrorism plots being tracked by the Bureau. Even as we speak, there are surveillance teams on some terrorists or suspected terrorists. There are undercover agents inside violent extremist groups, all trying to protect our communities. You take 6,000 agents or even 1,000 agents out of that
Mm-hmm.
equation, and you've not only demoralized the nation's premier law enforcement agency, you have made us less safe. And I think what's happening with this kind of MAGA thing, oh, wait, you mean the guy in charge of the FBI acting right now, he's a door kicker? Yeah. You mean the guy fighting out of New York, him too? Yeah. And you're going to take 6,000 agents who also enforce the laws on the street? Now I already hear some MAGA people going, oh, that might be too much. That might be too much.
We're chatting with Frank Figliuzzi. Frank has an article, Trump's revenge campaign is eroding the FBI's ability to protect America. You know, everything you've told me seems common sense. It also would be odd if Trump and his people don't know the same thing we're discussing. So let's think this through, Frank. Why would it be that Trump wants us less safe? Why does he want an FBI that's not effective, that can't protect Americans? Well, where do you think this is going?
So I think we can't first, a couple of things. One, we can't rule out that he's a simpleton and is out for simple revenge, right? I hate the FBI. They came to my house, and I hate them. And everybody who touched those cases, they got to go. Don't rule that out as the primary
Okay,
factor.
sure.
However, I do think that chaos is his middle name. I think that he understands that Putin and Kim or Un, I should say, in North Korea and Xi in China, all have complete control of their intelligence services, and he does not. And he thinks that to gain control of those services for his benefit, he needs to get rid of most of the people in it and reduce the size of the FBI so that their scope and mission is really, really narrowed. So, Patel has said previously, the problem with the FBI is those goddamn intelligence units. Yeah, the intelligence units that predict that terrorism is going to happen tomorrow, or that analyze organized crime and drug cartels. Those intelligence units, you're going to get rid of those? Yeah. Okay. So 6,000 agents less. That's fine. They'll just work bank robberies.
I wonder who's going to be the people who are going to be attracted to work in an FBI in this climate, because I know the FBI really pride themselves on getting people with accounting degrees, law degrees. They try to look for the best and the brightest. You're not going to, if you're the best and the brightest, you're not working for Kash Patel. You're not working
No,
for Donald Trump.
no. The last time I saw the numbers, most agents now have advanced degrees, masters. I had a law degree. They're getting, people who speak multiple languages, scientists, computer security experts, you name it. They're filling the ranks of the agent position. But here's the thing. At first I was like, yeah, no one's going to want to do this. Well, guess what? They don't want anybody to do it, because if you lose all these agents, there's been a hiring freeze. So OPM, the Office of Personnel Management, put out a BS memo that said, well, the hiring freeze will not affect national security agencies. Au contraire, right now the FBI is under a hiring freeze, and the background investigations for people in the pipeline, job applicants, candidates in the pipeline, have stopped unless you got a conditional job offer letter dated before January 20th. Your background is dead in the water. And so people will say, well, they're going to replace them with MAGA agents. No, they're not going to replace them with anybody. There's not going to be an FBI anymore if this goes as planned.
So if you're a transnational crime syndicate, you must be very happy about what's about to happen.
I'm very concerned about the ability, a couple of things. One, the ability to develop assets, sources, informants. When you sit across from somebody and say, listen, at great risk to your life and your family's life, I need you to come over to Team America, whether you're a Russian intelligence officer or whether you're in the drug cartel, right? You need to get this right. They're going to look at the agent and go, are you going to be here tomorrow? My life is in your hands. Do you have a job tomorrow? Am I really supposed to trust you and trust Trump that, is he going to look at my name on some list of Russian sources and not tell Putin that I'm working for America?
Yep.
Right. And then the other thing I get worried about, because I'm a counterintelligence guy, Russia, intelligence services, all of our adversaries, Iran, China, North Korea, they're all sitting here going, okay, wait, we have a cadre of FBI agents who are pissed, broke, and jobless. Huh. What do we do with that? Well, I can tell you what I would do. I would be making approaches to these agents if it was happening in another service.
I remember a conversation I had with Peter Strzok about his book a few years ago, and he said that he was concerned there could be some FBI agents who didn't want to investigate Donald Trump right after January 6th because they feared if somehow he would come back into power, they would suffer. And I'm like, come on, the guy's not getting back in office. And it looks like Peter Strzok was completely correct about what some people thought. So what's the message now in the time of Trump? You're never going to do whatever Donald Trump does. He can shoot someone on Fifth Avenue. You're not going to investigate that.
On a macro level, we are watching the rule of law be dismantled. That's not an exaggeration. I say that because who is going to open that public corruption case on a Republican congressman, governor, mayor, dog catcher? Are we going to literally, before we open a corruption case, ask, well, what party does the subject belong to? Those days never happened in the Bureau. We always used to joke, my handcuffs work equally well on Republicans and Democrats. I couldn't care less. If you're corrupt, we're coming for you. Yeah, so that notion, and then the idea of retribution. I mean, you may have seen the excellent reporting out of the Washington Post back with regarding the Mar-a-Lago search warrant, and you may have seen that the head of the Washington field office at the time was extremely reticent to go with a search warrant at Mar-a-Lago. I don't want it to happen on my watch. I've seen Andy McCabe walked out of the building. Peter Strzok walked out of the building. I don't think this is going to go well. And reason won the day. Yeah, Trump had enough time and video cameras showed people moving the boxes around. And after he had promised, he gave us everything, right? And now, yeah, that guy was right. If he was right and wrong at the same time, right?
So this ends the careers of certain FBI agents, and DOJ got rid of prosecutors as well who worked on the cases. People who wanted to make their career public service for our nation. They ended it not because they did something wrong, but because they did something right in investigating Donald Trump.
Yeah, well, first of all, let's hope that this doesn't reach the field level. That this list, first of all, that there's a court injunction that says cease and desist. You can't be firing people summarily. Number two, that someone, maybe even the White House, says, hey, we're getting really bad feedback on this thousands of FBI agents being fired thing. But if it goes forward in any great number, we're looking at the FBI as we know it stopping. And what really pisses me off is Kash Patel and Pam Bondi in their hearings as nominees for DOJ and FBI said, yeah, this really is not going to happen. Pam Bondi, quote, I will never have a blacklist at DOJ. Kash Patel, quote, I will protect agents from political retribution. Bullshit. And so, he's got plausible deniability. And as I say in my column that you referenced that just came out today for MSNBC Daily, don't think this isn't deliberate, that this is going on without them in place at their jobs yet. No, it's going on deliberately because they're not at their jobs yet, so that they can claim plausible deniability. I didn't fire these agents. I don't know what happened. Yeah, We need to call that out. Congress immediately needs to call back Pam Bondi, Kash Patel to the Hill, testify as to what's going on, and then bring in this guy, Emil Bove, who is the acting DAG, and say, who is ordering you to walk agents out of headquarters? Who's doing that? And you know the answer to that. That needs to happen like tomorrow.
Okay, Frank, assume that happens. And Emil Bove testifies Donald Trump gave me that order.
Yeah.
Then what? Then what?
Right. So you now have, look, I'm with you.
We can't hold him accountable for anything. We can't hold him accountable for anything.
Because,
this is the insane nation we live in today.
Shame on me. The word impeachment almost came out of my mouth. Don't let that happen.
Oh, that's a funny word.
Don't let that happen.
A duck comes down. If you say impeachment, because you have to have a duck come down, like the old TV comedy show.
Yeah. I mean, don't threaten me with impeachment. Yeah.
And the guy runs around behind me. Very funny, like Benny Hill. Like impeachment. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, it's just silly time. Go ahead. No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you because this is all, nothing can hold the man accountable. We've created a president who's above the law, courtesy of the Supreme Court, and a Republican compliant House and Senate. They've ended the Democratic Republic that I went through early, the Revolutionary War. I went through the Thomas Paine famous, these are the times that try men's souls. And I went through that poem and why it was written. And we are living through a time, if those people were alive, they would not believe what they're seeing.
Yeah, about the days of me trying to bolster people's moods and give hope for the future are pretty much over. In fact, one thought, a theory I've had and others have it is it's going to have to completely collapse before it gets even any better. I do think that a lot of lawsuits and resistance and a lot of federal judge injunctions are going to put a wall up on what he's trying to do. We've already seen, at the lower court level, the birthright citizenship thing. A judge said, no, this is the clearest. This is a Reagan appointed judge. No, this is the clearest violation, unconstitutional thing I've ever seen.
Blatantly unconstitutional.
Yeah. So, there's still that. There's still that. But reaching in and telling the DOJ, you got to fire all these agents. He's done it before. He did it with Andy McCabe and Pete Strzok.
Exactly. So he's learned exactly what he can get away with, Donald Trump. And so do the people around him, because that's why they're emboldened to be lawless. It's complete lawlessness, folks. That's what we're dealing with. But yes, there are going to be federal judges, because one judge could do a nationwide injunction, and we will stop him. In certain places, they'll stop him. Other places, they'll at least slow him down so he doesn't get the momentum he wants. And that's important. So, Frank, as someone who's worked so many years with the FBI and counterintelligence, what is your reaction to the January 6th attackers being freed, and what concerns you have about some of them potentially committing more crimes on behalf of Donald Trump in the future if they get a sense he needs their help, because he knows he's gonna pardon them if they do something for him?
We can't divorce that question from the topic we just covered, which is you now have a threat of FBI agents' names being published. That's on the record. Mm-hmm. That they intend to do this. So let's tell 1,500 people who've been convicted of crimes, 600 of whom may have assaulted police officers, and let's tell them, the FBI agent that put you in prison, his name is this, and this is his home address. Somebody's going to get hurt, right? Someone's going to get really hurt, and
right.
I don't want to see that. The other thing is, look, if you study history, every would-be dictator, authoritarian, has had some group of armed individuals kind of off the grid, not officially part of the government or quasi-official, who he can call upon and signal to do his dirty deeds against people he wants some harm to come to. And I don't think that's an exaggeration. The other thing is, I said, like on day one when these people were released, I said, watch the crime wave coming to your neighborhood. And sure enough, we've had one guy already killed by a deputy because he pulled a gun during a traffic stop. And the deputy said, that's enough of that. And this another woman got out and was immediately arrested on a prior case of vehicular homicide, DUI. This is only the best and brightest that have been released.
Yeah, they're good people. There was another one for soliciting a minor I know that person in another state. I was reading about that. And then there was the guy in Florida with a gun charge, and the more of them, because some of them, there was some great reporting by NPR. Many, look, some had no priors, but others had a long list. We're talking about rape, domestic violence, child pornography, and the list goes on of crimes. These were people who were criminals who came there on January 6th to commit crimes for their beloved criminal, Donald Trump himself. Look, Frank, when you worked in the FBI and to this day, do you, is part of your job sharing intelligence with other nations and they share with you? And if so, what are the concerns when other nations see what's going on in our country? Would they want to actually share any information with us?
Well, first of all, I'm really worried about for people who don't understand, the intel business. We rely on our brothers and sisters in the Five Eyes. The Five Eyes is United States, Canada, Australia, Great Britain, New Zealand. And people might say, really, we're that partnered with them? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And we share everything with our Five Eye partners, and they've got our back and we've got their back. And I mean, we stop terrorist attacks because of information given to us by our partners. We work the cases together. There's undercover operations that are mutual. FBI agents working in London undercover, and it's fascinating. And what have we just done? Well, we've pissed the hell off of Canada. They're like, yeah, have a nice day. Which, by the way, I love what Trudeau did with the tariffs, right? He sold Trump a bill of goods. Well, what if we put 10,000 soldiers on our border and $1 billion? He already promised that to Biden. It's already done. I mean, I want to be in the room when somebody tells Trump, they took you for a
He
ride.
doesn't care because he'll think I got the headline. That's all that matters, right? To him,
Yes.
it's like his supporters were like, you see how tough he is? Trudeau, he's did what he want,
And Mexico did the
But I'm
same
sorry,
thing,
go
by
ahead.
the way.
I
They
saw that
said,
in Mexico. They gave you 10,000 troops. They gave Biden, in fact, in his first term, they gave him 15,000 troops at the border because he did the same temper tantrum. I wrote an article today where I cited that. Like they gave 15,000 the first term. He's only getting 10 now. I think he's going down. But so Frank, getting back to the idea of other intelligence communities that you rely on sharing information with us, does this also make us less safe? Because I'm getting a sense they're not going to want to share it with this administration.
No, first of all, it's in part, we have a president now who, after his last term in office, squirreled away hundreds of classified documents, right? At the top secret, including those at the top secret level, some of them from foreign powers. So they already know we have no accountability here. We can't even prosecute a president for this. We can't prosecute people for this. So that's the number one problem. Number two, it's all about relationships in the intel community. So you cultivate a relationship with your counterpart at the Australian services, who I worked really closely with. They're phenomenal people. And then here comes, okay, well, they're all fired. So all of your executive assistant directors are gone. Okay, who's in charge? Well, there's an acting, but actually she was an acting, and now she's an acting EAD. So someone else is acting at the AD level, and someone else is acting, right? It's a whole domino effect. And so those relationships are gone. And now what if they bring in a MAGA replacement, which, by the way, on the executive floor, 7th floor of FBI headquarters, there are at least 4 advisors to the director that have been planted there by Trump. I don't know how many people know this, but there's a MAGA team on the 7th floor of FBI headquarters. And guess what? One of those individuals is actually a SpaceX Elon Musk employee. They got blue badges, which means they're not contractors. They get access everywhere in the building. And what if they meet with the Australians or the Brits and spout MAGA nonsense like, we don't need allies. We don't need NATO. America first. That allied representative is going to turn around and walk out the door.
We're going to see it. But when Kash Patel gets in there, because I think he will be confirmed now, Trump will have his number one buddy up there, the guy who produced the January 6th choir. And then at his testimony, I don't know what it is. He went on a podcast of a guy who was anti-Semitic, I think 9 times. I don't know. I don't remember any of that. These guys' their biggest problem is a thing called Google, because you Google their names and guess what? It shows up what they've done. But they can just lie to the Senate. And I don't know why there's no investigation. I guess his answers are he crafted them in a way where he's like, I don't remember that, as opposed to saying the affirmative fact that it were to lie. I mean, overall, Frank, before we wrap up, what are your concerns going forward? Is there an overarching concern? I mean, you did write your article about us being the FBI's ability to protect us is sliding under Trump already. We're just 2 weeks in.
Yeah.
What else should we be looking for? What else should we be concerned about?
No, so the biggest concern I have, worst case scenario, short term, we've already talked about, and that would be a terror attack that some state sponsored group or not state sponsored group decides, you know what, this is the best time to do it right now.
Yeah.
Or let's wait a week or two and see 1,000 agents go out the door. That might be the best time to do it. That is something that's, I'm sure, is being considered right now by our adversaries. That's number one. Yeah.
What if you're going to rob a bank? If you're going to rob a bank, would you wait?
Would yeah. First of all,
Wait a couple of weeks, big layoffs, then go rob a bank?
Yeah. The other
FBI agents are following.
We're already seeing public corruption cases being dropped. There's a former member of Congress. His case has been dropped. He was corrupt as they come. Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City, it's been reported that DOJ is considering strongly dropping the corruption cases against Eric Adams because, of course, he went to Mar-a-Lago and kissed the ring. So, yeah, you're going to see cases dropped and then cases not opened, right? I have a case against that Republican mayor. Nope, we're not doing that. No, because remember, the U.S. attorneys are all getting replaced. Every single U.S. attorney, the chief prosecutor in your district. Now you've got a situation where you bring that to the U.S. attorney's office, that case, and they go, nah, you don't have it. You don't have it here. It's a bad situation.
You imagine if, like, there was no members of Congress prosecuted for January 6th, but Jim Jordan, I think arguably would have been a co-conspirator from the January 6th report. It would have been a different thing if someone like Jim Jordan had gotten prosecuted. But then again, now he would be freed, of course, and there'd be no. But just so everyone knows, to sum up what Frank's talking about, the rule of law is that if you're a Republican, you can commit all the crimes you want if you're part of MAGA. That's the America we live in now. That's the reality of this. If you're a Republican who's anti-Trump, they'll let you get prosecuted. But if you're MAGA and you're loyal to Trump and you do everything Trump wants, you'll be protected. This is the America we live in now.
It is the true weaponization of DOJ and FBI. And today, Elon Musk put out a tweet, again, apparently a post. If you obstruct what we're doing, you will be arrested. And, you know, another Trump official said, we have the FBI ready to go if you're obstructing what we're doing.
Yeah, I saw some of that stuff. It's not good. But Frank, it's good to talk to you. Let's put it that way. We're going to hang out with you, me, and Glenn Kirshner and hang out and laugh about something. We'll find something funny because we need to laugh. Thanks, Frank, so much. And by the way, if people want to follow your stuff, your writing and your work, where are you? Are you on X? Are you on Blue Sky?
Yeah, I'm on. Blue Sky has been fantastic. Instagram. I almost can't take X anymore, but I'm still there briefly. Threads. But most importantly, I would love for people to go to my website, frankfigliuzzi.com, simply sign up for free, and you get a weekly newsletter of everything I'm doing and clips of what I've done on TV.